So, a day or two ago, I traded my PlayStation 2 Slim, a 7000 series model, for my friend's PlayStation 2 Fat, more specifically, an older 30000 series model. The reason I wanted to do such a trade was because I'd like to install a hard drive with games loaded on it to get faster loading times and smoother title screens and such. The PlayStation 2 I had was in pretty good condition, besides the scratched up glossy plastic, but the Fat that I received definitely needed some love. Now, before we see if it can turn on, let's go through a quick history lesson. So back in 2000 is when the PlayStation 2 was launched. There have been many revisions made to the console. The one I have is one of the earliest models. I would assume this because it still has the holes to mount a display, it has a standard AC in, slight differences in I/O than newer gen models, and it doesn't have an IR sensor. The heatsink is also different than newer Fat models. Anyways, the PS2 packs in a whopping 294 MHz CPU, which boosted up to 299 MHz on later models, 32 MB of RAM, a 147 MHz GPU, 4 MB of VRAM, and a DVD-ROM drive. All of this would have set you back a whopping $299, which, as expensive as that sounds, one of the best selling points of the PS2 was that it supported DVD-ROM and music CD playback. If you look up the original MSRP for DVD players around 1999 or 2000, you'll see why this was such a big deal. Not only were you getting a killer gaming machine, but you could also watch movies or playback music for about the fraction of the price of what a home DVD player would have cost. Anyways, I plugged in a standard AC cable to the PS2, flipped the switch to turn on the internal power supply, and nothing. No red standby light, no loud DVD motor noise, just a silent, almost dead console. I was pretty disappointed by this, but when I remembered that my friend had taken it apart to do some cleaning, which by now has worn off a lot, I thought why not do a full disassembly, clean it off, and see if maybe some dust build up or disconnected cables preventing it from turning on. And that's exactly what I did. Disassembling the console was a fairly painless task. I started with the screws underneath the rubber feet, and that gave me access to, well, everything. I then removed the fan assembly and unscrewed the power supply and set it aside so I don't get shocked. After that, I removed the DVD player and disconnected all of its pesky ribbon cables, along with removing the memory card reader and controller ports. I had to go through more really tight screws, and after a while, I finally got the motherboard removed. Apologies for the somewhat stuttery footage. I had been recording for a while, but anyways, after inspecting the motherboard, checking that nothing was damaged, I proceeded to clean down the console inside and out. It's not 100% cleaned off, but much better than how I got it. Anyways, after struggling to reconnect the laser ribbon cable, the PS2 is reassembled. Now, all that was left to do was plug it in with a power cable and see if I get any lights. To my surprise, turning on the internal power supply gave me the red standby light and I was able to power on the console with no problems. I played one of my favorite games, Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast, to see if everything was okay. After getting bored of that, I ran Tekken 5 and something happened. The console shut off and the power LED started blinking red. I was a bit worried at first, but when I remembered that the fan didn't spin up at startup, it was clear that the console shut down to prevent itself from damaging the core components. I could simply fix this by installing one of my many spare fans that I have lying around, but even my smallest fan won't fit, and I don't want to do any soldering, so I'm going to try and pick up a cheap replacement off of eBay, but if that doesn't work, then I'll get a 9-volt battery and figure out the rest. Well guys, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you did it, you know where to go. While you're there, consider subscribing to the channel for more quality tech videos. Anyways, thanks for watching and I'll see you later.